So, I've wanted to make this video for a long time now, and you could probably trace it back to 3 videos that I've made in the past, and those videos are basically me showing off my old movie collection. Well, that movie collection has definitely expanded over time, so much so I have 2 shelves worth of movies that I could, if I wanted to, I can literally make an entire video series out of that, which I'm going to. For those of you who don't know, as much as I play video games on this channel, movies are my lifeblood. Like, I could easily go ahead and talk about movies for fucking days with you if you wanted to. For those who don't know, I was a part of Channel Awesome. I was a part of the That Guy with the Glasses community. I was a part of the website. I posted videos for them, but mainly video game videos. And for a long time, I wanted to do something about movies. And I had pitched some shows to Mike Machad. They went through, I just never went through with it because I overthought it and it didn't happen. But I'm gonna do that today. So this video is basically a way for you guys to understand what my taste in movies are, what kind of movies I like, and what kind of movies I tend to enjoy. Yeah, so I wanted to go ahead and kind of just list them out for you guys because, well, everybody's got their favorite movies, but these are my top 10 favorite movies of all time. The Crow is about a murder that takes place on Devil's Night. Well, not exactly during the time of the murder, but it takes place 1 year later, where a crow lands on the gravestone of the man murdered named Eric Draven. He's revived from the dead, basically and he's given a mission, basically, to avenge his murder as well as the murder of his wife-to-be. Yeah, so what I love about that movie, first off, visually, it's gritty and it's grungy, or it's got that 1990s grunge music feel, but I love it basically for the character that Brandon Lee played, and it was his last appearance. He died during the making of that film, so he died for art. That's not the reason why I love the movie, but I love the movie because it has, as a comic book movie, back in those days, comic book movies were basically, if you made a comic book movie, you were doomed to fail. And this movie basically kind of changed the game a little bit. It really made comic book movies a little more appreciative, and it was something different. It was something really cool. It has a lot of good one-liners. It has a lot of good moments in the film, basically with, I believe, a younger... I believe the kid is the sister of Eric's former fiance, and it's just one of those moments he has, like, a heart-to-heart with her, even, like, to kind of say, like, hey, I'm always going to be around even if I'm dead. You're going to notice a theme in this list, a lot about revenge, because I like those movies. I like revenge movies, and I think this was a good entrance way, because I saw this as a young teenager, and it was really good. Like, it blew my hair back. I had never seen anything like it. As a comic book movie, as an action movie, as a movie from the 90s itself, it was really, really something new to me. Honestly, like, for what it is, I know it's gonna seem a little cheesy now. Go watch it. It's fucking awesome. Like, Brandon Lee did a fantastic job as Eric Draven. You never see a performance like that anymore. So, yeah, that's number 10. Okay, so some of you are gonna kill me for this being so low on the list, but fuck it. It's number 9, The Avengers. Because fuck yeah, The Avengers. You know what The Avengers is. It's basically the collaboration of all of these different superheroes from the Marvel Cinematic Universe coming together in this one movie to fight a big bad. Just to kind of broaden the universe a little bit. Which, by the way, little tangent here, I'm happy that they're using the Netflix series, like the Hell's Kitchen Netflix series of, like, Daredevil and Jessica Jones, to kind of broaden the universe, to give their perspective on what happened in the Avengers. But yeah, so the Avengers, if you don't know, came out in 2012. It's a Marvel movie, basically including Captain America, Thor, Black Widow, Hulk, Iron Man, Nick Fury. Basically all of those superheroes coming together to fight Loki and the Chitauri and get back the Tesseract. What I loved about that movie was how grand it was, how big of a scale it was on, because I didn't have any expectations going into it. I knew it was going to be like this big thing that has been building up for years in the making. And when it finally happened, it was well worth the wait. It was everything I imagined it would be. It had great action moments. It had fantastic one-liners that came from comic books. It had great dialogue. Of course, Joss Whedon wrote the damn thing. It's fucking Joss Whedon. He does a lot of good writing, and he's really good in what he does. I cannot wait for Infinity War, and I can't wait for Avengers 2.5, otherwise known as Captain America Civil War. That's going to be awesome. So, yeah, the Avengers. Now, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is, and if you haven't seen it, it was made by Edgar Wright, the guy who made Shaun of the Dead, The World's End, Hot Fuzz, all those movies, Fistful of Fingers. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is another comic book movie. I promise they're all not going to be comic book movies, but bear with me. It was written and directed by Edgar Wright, and it's based on the comic book series of the same name, where basically Scott Pilgrim falls in love with this girl named Ramona Flowers, and in the process, he finds himself on this quest to defeat her 7 evil exes. And it's a funny movie. Like, honestly, what I love about Edgar Wright's directing style is it's so, like, in your face. It's very much like a comic book. It very much is played out like the graphic novels. A lot of the styles come basically directly from the comic book, and it's nice to see. It was a perfect homage. Honestly, I think it's one of the best comic book to movie adaptations I've seen in a long time, and if you get a chance, check it out. It's honestly, I think it's a cult classic movie. It didn't stay in theaters long, but if you can pick it up on Blu-ray or catch a screening of it, because I know they do midnight screenings, fucking do it. It's one of the best comic book movies I've seen in a long time. This is a documentary that actually Nick, Eat My Diction, showed me. The movie I'm talking about, of course, is called The Imposter. And the movie is about the 1997 case of Frederick Bourdin, a man who basically, for a decent amount of time, I think a couple of years, impersonated a young Texas kid who was kidnapped. And basically he played it off as if he got kidnapped and brought to Spain, and basically faked his way out of Spain to live as an American. It's interesting for a couple of reasons. One, it's interesting to see how he pulled it off, because when you hear that a kid gets kidnapped and ends up in Spain and they find him, you're like, how the fuck did that happen? And then find out it's actually like a 30-year-old Frenchman. You go, what the fuck? How do you even pull that off? That's amazing. Obviously not amazing for the family. But yeah, so The Imposter, it kind of details how he did it, the story that went down around the whole thing, and the family's perspective, and kind of gives you a look into the mind of a serious criminal who's wanted by Interpol. Yeah, it's fucking insane. Like, if you get a chance, it's on Netflix. Go check it out, because that movie will blow your hair back as a documentary. Almost like in the same vein of another movie like that, Man on a Wire. Basically the movie about the guy who walked across the Twin Towers on a wire. Basically, it's sort of in that same style where it's filmed half like a movie, half like a documentary. So go ahead and check that movie out. Check out Man on Wire. Go check out The Imposter. That documentary I can watch again and again without hesitation. Okay, number 6. Now, you guys gotta expect this of me from my referential humor, because you guys know I'm very referential, and this is probably one of the most quotable movies I've ever watched in my life. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Now, if you don't know, Monty Python and the Holy Grail is a movie based around the legends of King Arthur and his search for the Holy Grail. But basically they take it and they take all the stories and they spoof it and make a huge parody in this whole thing. And it's the Monty Python cast. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, written by, of course, the group Monty Python. They're responsible for Monty Python's Flying Circus, The Meaning of Life, Life of Brian, all of those great movies. But Monty Python and the Holy Grail is my favorite, mainly for a couple of reasons. One, I saw it as a young kid. My dad showed me it, and it basically kind of molded my sense of humor. to this very day. It's one of the best comedies I've seen in a long time. It has such great moments, like it's very quotable. I'm going to tell you the story. Basically, on my 23rd birthday, I think? Yeah, 23rd. I had a bunch of friends over. Marissa threw me this party, and we watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And fucking Jeff, one of my best friends in the world, I love him, but he would not, he could quote the movie all the way through verbatim without even looking at the screen. He knew that movie back and forth, and like, I love him, but I'm never watching the movie with him again. So, for those who don't know, Ferris Bueller's Day Off was a movie, like one of those 80s comedies. It's about this kid, Ferris Bueller, who plays hooky, and basically has a day in the city with his girlfriend, Sloane Peterson, and his best friend, Cameron Fry. And the whole point of the movie is that it's like right before graduation, right before the end of high school, where he's gonna go off and he's not gonna be able to like hang with his friends anymore, and he wants that one last hurrah before it's all over. I get it. It's a movie about trying to stay young and trying to enjoy the fun while it lasts. It's such a heartfelt movie, and I again saw that one as a young kid. It's Monty Python, Beavis and Butthead Do America, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Those are the three I saw back when I was really young, and I would watch those movies over and over again. But I love everything about Ferris Bueller. I love the delivery of the lines. I love the dialogue. I love every monologue Matthew Broderick does. I love the music. One of my favorite scenes in that whole movie is the art museum scene where, what is it? Please, please, please let me get what I want. That cover is playing, and like Cameron's looking at the painting of the kid with his parent, because he's kind of like dealing with family issues and stuff like that. I'm not going to spoil the movie for you, but please do yourself a favor and check out that movie. It's such a brilliant movie. It's so good. And fuck the fan theories about basically Ferris Bueller being all in Cameron's head. It's so weird. Just let it... It's an enjoyable movie about a kid who wants to have a fun time playing hooky. Now, if you don't know what Red State is, it's the first horror movie by the director of Clerks, Kevin Smith. Now, I did not know he made this movie until I first saw it. I had seen Clerks 2, I liked Clerks 2, and when I saw Red State, it fucking blew me away because of the fact that what he said with that movie meant more than the movie itself, because it is a real-life horror film. It's about these three kids, I wouldn't say kids, high schoolers, who go on a Craigslist-type website looking for sex, and they meet this woman who turns out to be a part of this radical fundamentalist church who kill homosexuals in the community, and they end up basically being kidnapped and held hostage, and they're gonna get killed. And basically what the movie was, it is the most real horror movie I have seen in my life. Like, it's a movie about hatred. It's a movie about people, how their beliefs can take them so far, and how their beliefs can drive them to the point of being destructive. Oh god, it's such a brutal movie that you don't see anywhere near the desk of Kevin Smith. But I love it so much. I love Tusk too, but that was a stoner horror movie in itself. That's for another time. I love that movie, but we'll have to talk about that another time. I'm not saying religion is a bad thing. I'm saying that radical viewpoints are a bad thing. Like, that's kind of the message I think that's coming from the movie. So, yeah, fucking go see Red State. If you've never seen a Kevin Smith movie in your life, see that. I honestly think that is one of his best films to date. Do it, please. Do it. I'm begging you. This one actually came out last year. I saw it in the theater with my girlfriend, and it threw me for a loop. I loved it. It had me every second of the film from the beginning to close. Nightcrawler. So Nightcrawler is a movie about a man by the name of Lou Bloom, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a former thief, and basically he ends up diving into the world of freelance video journalism as a stringer. He ends up shooting late at night. He shoots accidents, he shoots crimes and stuff like that, murders and whatnot, and he distributes the footage and sells it to news stations. And I like that movie because, one, it's very gritty, it's very dark, but two, it kind of shows you a glance of a protagonist who's a sociopath. Like, we've never seen something like that before, where the hero, the narrative of the film is focused on a guy who gives no fucks for anyone except for himself and his business. He's cold, he's calculating, he's like one of the darkest people I've seen. And like, the whole movie is predicated around the idea of the quote, "If it bleeds, it leads," and how far you're willing to go to make that money that you need. I never think a movie about freelance video journalism would be so fucking intense. So, that's saying something. Fucking cheers to you, Dan Gilroy. That was amazing. I personally say that if you've never heard of the Vengeance trilogy, I think this would be the fourth. Like, this would be part of a Vengeance quadrilogy. That's how good it is. I Saw the Devil is a movie by Kim Ji-woon. It's about a NIS agent who finds his wife has been murdered brutally. And he goes on this path of vengeance to find the murderer and not kill him, but basically he basically maims him in the worst way in this like sick and twisted cat and mouse game. And at some point in the film, the murderer, the guy who killed his wife, ends up figuring it out and goes on sort of he pulls some baits and switches. I'm not going to tell you much about it. I'm not going to say much else about the movie. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who wants to see it. It's on Netflix. Go watch it. But the point I want to make about this movie, I think the movie tries to ask the question, where is the line drawn? Like, where is it that you can be a monster? Where is it that you could be a victim? Because at both of these, like, there is no good man in this movie. I'm going to put that out there. There's no good person. And you think someone's going to be the good guy, but it turns out they aren't because of what they're doing. I'm trying to be vague as fuck because I want you guys to watch this movie. Same with number one, which I'm going to explain a little bit. But go check out I Saw the Devil. It's brilliant. Like, it's shot beautifully. It's written very well. And plus, it's just one of the best fucking examples of a revenge flick I've ever seen in my life. Aside from number one. Now you guys have heard me state this millions of times, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just outright say it, Oldboy. Oldboy is a movie that came out in 2003 by Park Chan-wook, and it's about a man by the name of Oh Dae-soo. And Oh Dae-soo is kidnapped and placed in a room for 15 years. He doesn't know why. He has no idea why this is happening, who did it, but he's got to stay there for 15 years. And after 15 years, he goes on a path to find out who did this, why it's happened to him, and in the process falls in love with a woman. But the thing about the movie is you don't know who to trust and who not to trust. There are several moments in that movie which I can say they're the greatest action moments of all time. Case in point, the hallway scene. You'll know what I'm talking about. A hallway scene which basically Oh Dae-soo finds himself facing about 20 people with a hammer, and that's it. But yeah, it's a mystery movie. It is. You want to know who did it, why they did it. There's a lot that you're gonna not expect. I'll put that out there for you right now. Honestly, I'd say that's my favorite movie of all time. Just because of like how well the story is told, and you don't know if everything's gonna be okay in the end, but you want it to be. You really want it to be for this guy. Anyway, so with that said, those are my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I plan on doing a lot more movie reviews. I have a ton of movies on my shelf I can pick from, but I don't know. I'd like to find some stuff I can talk about, and if there's anything you guys want me to watch, sure, I'll fucking do it. Yeah, so I will talk to you guys later. This is Smarty, signing off. Have a good one.